sense, when you really see that you have no control over the world, then you ease into this involuntary nature of miracles. Everything is involuntary. Imagine how peaceful that is when you start to realize that everything is involuntary. And it just always amazes me, it's miraculous. I'm thinking the last time, we have this Strawberry Fields Forever music and enlightenment retreat every year. It's going to be our third year. It's going to be August 27th to September 3rd. I remember I was sitting there in the audience, I was a few rows back and everything, and my friend Charles was up on stage, and he can make all kinds of sounds, and he does all kinds of fun variations. And he kept looking down, he said, "You, come up, come up, come up." He was calling someone up to come and do some, it was hip-hop, and what else does he do? Beatbox and rap. And he was calling me up to do hip-hop rap. So I just got up there, and amazingly, thank God, everything is involuntary. Nothing like being called on the stage to do that, and I just went up and it was fun. Yeah, when you pull up at the parking lot of our monastery out there in the canyon in Utah, we've got a picture of Jesus with arms outstretched. It says something like, "Trust settles every problem." It's a variation of the Course in Miracles teaching from Jesus. Trust would settle every problem now. If you really start to give your mind over to that, you can start to feel a joy coming up. Trust would settle every problem now. Because it's teaching us that this has been a time problem. That we're told in A Course in Miracles that time and eternity cannot coexist. There's something that is true about that. If eternity is forever, if eternity is changeless, it's endless. You know, we have a word for it. We actually have a word in the English language called eternity. But there's no experience of eternity. There's no experience in this cosmos of eternity. Everything has a beginning and an end. Everything is changing. There's no changelessness in this. Now, the more we find out about, the galaxies, the stars, it was very romantic. I love you. As long as the stars shine in heaven. We know they're burning gases. They're going to burn out. You can't even propose with something like that anymore. Because everyone's too sophisticated now. Is that all? That's finite. You're offering me a finite love, I can do better. And the love of God is what's real, but there's nothing here that's eternal. So trust would settle every problem now. Doesn't that sound like an invitation to go inside your heart and find perfect trust? Because that would be the solution to any conceivable problem you can think of. That fits in with do only that. It fits in with just give it your all. Go for it completely. Don't go for it half-heartedly. Don't think that you can kind of compromise with the truth. The truth is true and only the truth is true. It's another teaching from the workbook of A Course in Miracles. Jesus says, you must accept both parts to realize the truth. The truth is true and only the truth is true. Truth doesn't have exceptions. Truth doesn't have an opposite. But it's going to take trust to know that state of mind. We're going to have to really exercise our trust. And that's the fun, I think, for me and for all of us. Like I said, I was in university, I went through the typical things on planet Earth, and then when I found the Course in 1986, I got a sense that even though it was a big book with 31 chapters and 1,200 some pages, I got a sense that really the whole thing was just about getting in touch with the internal teacher, getting in touch with the Spirit, and following guidance of the Spirit. That as soon as I would make contact with the Spirit, and I would really be able to hear the Spirit's instructions for me, that effectively my need for A Course in Miracles will be over. The words would have done their job. If I could just get in touch with the internal teacher, life would be easy, life would be joyful, life would be fun. Imagine having the spirit of the universe, the universal spirit giving you instructions. And imagine yourself so willing to just follow those instructions, whatever they were, without exception. That's like a pathway to joy, a pathway to love and happiness. And nothing's at random. Everything that comes to you is part of that one lesson. So now I have to say that I enjoy the reflections, and I enjoy meeting my brothers and sisters all over the world that are telling me their stories of tuning in, of hearing guidance, of feeling prompts from the Spirit. I love to hear cascading witnesses of people that are living intuitive lives, not lives based on past learning, but they're becoming intuitive. And with our community, we had one over in Spain for a while, and one up in Canada, Hawaii, Mexico. They're all just tuning in to this internal listening. That's where the songwriting comes from. Kirsten and Ricky, just recently, right before this tour, there was a CD that came out of all these songs. It's given. It's really the Spirit gives it to you. Everything. The key to living your life. The people in our communities living based on intuitive inner listening. It's breaking away from models of leader-follower kind of informed. Like with convents and monasteries, you listen to the abbot, you listen to the Monsignor, you listen to the cardinal or the bishop or the priest or the rabbi. What about your internal listening? What about your connection with Source? Or the monasteries, there's Mother Superior. You could do this and this and this, but you better run it by Mother Superior. But what if you have that same intuitive voice in you? And what if you can connect with that, and you can increasingly connect with that, and you know you're increasingly connecting with it by how you feel. By when you become more consistently peaceful, happy, joyful, that's it. That's your experiential evidence right there. Your state of mind is the evidence of how tuned in you are to that intuitive listening. And what if you could be 100% intuitive? What if you got to the point where you became so intuitive that you didn't react and respond to any of the images of the world? You weren't being informed by form. You said, no, I'm not going to pay attention to the form anymore. I'm going to tune in my heart and listen to what that small, still voice is telling me. That's what the workbook of A Course in Miracles is doing. It starts off in lesson number 1. Nothing I see means anything. It's beginning a rinsing and a washing of this addiction to thinking that who we are comes from what the world is telling us, from the images. Even believing that in this dream that we began with Mom and Dad, that the source of our being, the source of our existence was Mom and Dad. You notice Jesus never said that. You go through the Gospels. He never gives credit to Mary and Joseph, not even once. In 4 Gospels. You never see a thank you in it. Lo, I tell you, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And thank you, Mom. Are you here? It's just because the presence, the source, is the creator, is the I am presence, is the Spirit. And he gave all the glory to the Spirit. And his teachings were so profound because he was being sourced by God. I and the Father are one. He was basically saying we are the same Spirit, not the flesh. That which is born of the flesh is flesh. That which is born of the Spirit is spirit. That's what the born-again experience. It's not just saying the names Jesus Christ, I believe upon Jesus Christ, and going along with your earthly life. It's actually having that feeling of merge, where your will as the Christ and God's will are one. So you even go past not my will but thy will be done. You actually come into an experience of perfect happiness where my will is thy will. That you actually share the same will with God. Doesn't that make more sense than thinking that God has a different will than you? What must you be if God created you and you have a different will than God? Why would God do that? I am almighty and I'm happy and joyful, but I'm going to give you a different will. Thanks, Dad. But no, every moment of every day, it's like, do I want the problem or do I want the answer? Every moment of every day is an opportunity to really come into an experience of who your source is. Or that YouTube video that I have, somebody labeled it, "Who's your daddy?" I saw that one time I was going through my YouTube, said, that's a good title, I'm going to have to watch that one. Who's your daddy? Is your daddy the ego? A belief in separation, a belief in littleness, fear, guilt, shame? Is that your daddy? As long as we stay identified with these personality selves, we're answering who's your daddy with the ego, with limitation, lack, sin, guilt, fear, pain. That's not our inheritance. We're worth everything. We're worth everything. And it's so practical. Life is so fun, but it's all because it's sourced. You're just given the symbols that you need for a while. You're given anything you need. If you need a word, you're given it.